All right. All right, we're live. Thank you for joining me for some trucking answers to your trucking questions. My name is Jesse here at Decker Truckline. We go live every noon. Every noon? No, every Tuesday at noon. There we go. Central Time. To answer your trucking questions. More specifically, your Decker Truckline trucking questions. All right. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. Hey, Dean, how are you? Dean, I don't know about you, but the weather has turned here in Montana. Where are you at? What's it like? Here it is. It is very, very windy, as you can probably tell. I can feel everything shaking. Um, but normally, what that means is my service will be intermittent because of the rain as well. I guess it's more so the rain than the wind. But if we have problems, I apologize. It does say we have an excellent connection, so I'm going to go with it. All right. Well, it is the 5th of November. Thank you guys for joining me today. I want to start off and just give an announcement for our Des Moines shop. So Des Moines, Iowa. There's going to be some additional construction there here coming up on Monday the 11th. Well, it's starting on the 11th and it's going to be continuing for about 3 to 4 weeks, they expect. So that said, I did send out an email on behalf of the management team about half an hour ago, and then I recognized that the subject line was incorrect. So I resent it, so I apologize for that, but it's construction at the Des Moines shop that I want you to know about. And that construction, like I said, they expect it to be about 3 to 4 weeks in length, but it starts on Monday. We've had to deal with construction for the last couple of weeks because there was electrical, I think it was CenturyLink originally that had the issues during the storm, and then all of a sudden they got into the water lines. And so when they were digging and trying to take care of their repairs, they broke a water line, a water main. I might be speaking out of place on that one, but anyways, water related, and then that led into even more. So because of the water main issues at the Des Moines shop, we're going to have more construction, but this time they're going to go all in. And what that means for us is that we are going to have to avoid a few areas. I know that there's going to be a temporary drop lot. Josh has been working with Matt, and I'm throwing names out for those of you who don't know the Decker family, the maintenance crew. They are quickly trying to move things around and get it ready for the construction so that there are, less of an interruption as it could be otherwise. So that being said, there's construction, right? Yeah. Starting on the 11th, so on Monday, the November 11th, and then it'll last about 3 to 4 weeks. We did provide a map in the email, in the correct email, that was sent out here just a few moments ago. And the address, 5201 Northeast 15th Street, will be unavailable for parking during the construction. So please keep that in mind. Last week we had to quickly move one of our professional drivers' vehicles that was parked in an area that they needed access to. Thankfully, we got the communication out and we had help to figure out who it was and how we could move it and take care of it. But anyways, that's the area that's going to be impacted. So there's a chunk of space at the Des Moines shop that will definitely be impacted. The temporary drop lot, Petticord has generously provided us with an alternative drop lot. So it's about 2 miles away, and that address is 1700 East Aurora Avenue. So thank you to Petticord for offering that. And of course, thanks for those who were involved in making it work, the logistics of it all, right? So the Petticord address, that temporary drop lot, that location is for a trailer drop only. It has no driver amenities. Want to give you a heads up on that. And I know with the Des Moines shop, we are limited on amenities in the main shop compared to our others. I mean, there are some, but we do have access, or you will have access to a car if you're going in for an A or B service, getting work done on your truck, then you'll have access to one of the Decker company cars to sign out, use for a couple of hours, and come back, because there are facilities, in the area that you'll be able to use, laundry facilities, shopping, whatever you need to do, groceries, that kind of thing. And what else? The trailer and the equipment. So we kind of move things around. We're trying to keep the trailers and the equipment to a minimal, both at the Des Moines shop and the temporary drop. So the temporary drop lot that Petticord is allowing us to use, which again is about 2 miles away. So that being said, make sure that you're staying in contact with your driver leader, as always, but make sure that you're staying in contact with them so that we can make this work as smoothly as possible, so that we can get these repairs done and just get it done, right? I mean, that's how I want to relay it. Anyways, thanks you guys for your patience. We really appreciate everything that you're doing and dealing with all of that. But thankfully they're getting after it. They're not leaving it as is. And then, so when you're going into winter and you've got some of those temporary fixes, they just do not hold, and we don't want to mess with that. So we're very thankful that they are actually taking action and fixing those for us. So, Felix, well, hello, sir. How are you? Good to see you on here. All right. Dean says he's in Minnesota. It's been raining since daylight savings time ended. Ooh, okay. So we had, it's been raining that long, huh? So basically for 2 days, day and a half, 2 days. We started getting sprinkles here in Montana. So why I'm in Montana. We have a terminal in Missoula. So we've got Fort Dodge, Iowa is our main terminal for Decker. And then we have the terminal in Des Moines, right? Now Decker, or the Fort Dodge terminal for Decker, is our main terminal. So that has a ton of amenities. That has the majority of the amenities, right? Des Moines is limited in some cases, but again, you have access to cars to go run errands and stuff. Bessemer, Alabama, we've got a terminal there with amenities, washer, dryer, all of that stuff, and then showers. And then in Missoula, we also have amenities. So we've got the professional driver's lounge there, or center, and then we've got a couple of private rooms. We've got the lounge area. We've got the washer, dryer, the showers. Yeah, dog area. Like, what am I missing? But anyways, and of course, you do have access to a car in Bessemer, as well as Fort Dodge, Des Moines, and Missoula. I think that. But anyways, I'm out of the Montana terminal. And the weather, you'd expect it to be nastier this time of year. So I'm not going to complain. I'm not complaining, you guys. I'm not. But it's starting to turn. I've expected that. And now it's coming. So I've got my hot tea and I'm ready to rock. It gets the day going. If I've got my tea, then I pretty much can handle it all. How some people deal with coffee. That's me. Okay. Anyways, where was I going with that? Does anybody know? Any details? No, probably not. Okay. That said, I just wanted to make sure that we got that information out on the Des Moines shop. Thanks again, you guys. I really appreciate your patience on that. We've been kind of big storm in the area and heading it off. All right. Well, as I promised, we'll talk about a few different positions that we have here at Decker. In the last 2 weeks, we've talked about a team that we are looking for. So we are looking for one team to run. It's semi-dedicated. So please allow me to explain, because I don't want you to come aboard or come with the assumption that, oh, it's definitely dedicated. I'm going to be through the house every single week. That is not the case with this team opportunity. It is fantastic miles and very, very consistent, but it is not all consistent for miles is what I should correct myself, because as a semi-dedicated load or semi-dedicated team, you won't be running the same exact load all the time. you'd be running part of the time in our over-the-road refrigerated freight, and the other part of the time you would be attached to our dedicated freight, which again is refrigerated, and that one runs more, they're bread loads. So in the bread load freight that we have, that is touch freight, whereas all of our other refrigerated freight is no touch. So I do want to clarify that right out of the gate. So the touch freight, you are, as a team, you're rolling the carts on and off. Well, you're rolling loaded ones off, and then you'll adjust that, and then empty ones on, and then vice versa at the other side. So you'll have both ends of the spectrum there. And we do require that you live along I-80 between either Denver, Colorado, and Chicago, Illinois. Not either, but somewhere in between Chicago and Denver along I-80. So yes, that's what I want you to be aware of for that. It is one position. I only need one team currently for that position, and it's to relieve our team. Like I said, they work really hard with the dedicated, and so we kind of need the relief for them when they do go on home time or vacation. Now, for home time, to give you some details there, you're usually out about 4 weeks, 3-4 weeks at a time on the team runs, and then you're home for 5-6 days, because it's a day and a half for every 7 days you're out. That's pretty much the rotation there. Now our teams have a pay structure they have a bonus for the miles, and then they have the opportunity, just like our solo drivers, for the scorecard and the safety bonuses. So you've got multiple bonuses that you can get, that you can earn. And as far as the mileage bonus, our teams are consistently getting those mileage bonuses, and they're consistently maxing on those mileage bonuses. And I'll explain that here in just a second so that you can get those details. I'm going to bounce right back after I answer Ghost Trucker's question. But I'm just going to answer his question real quick so I can get back on track what I was thinking. Who knows? Ghost Trucker says, any options out of Texas? Yes, we definitely have options out of Texas. Not for the team. We don't have team out of there, but we do have refrigerated. So depending on where in Texas you live, we have our over-the-road, even more of a regional OTR out of there as well. So Dallas, Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth, if you live within, 50 miles, a 50-mile radius of that, then we have the option to get you home every 11 days for 3 days, or you can run coast to coast, and that one's usually 2 to 3 weeks out at a time, and then 4 to 5 days home at a time. So the difference really between those two options, besides the home time, is the running area. The running area so I'm visualizing a map, and that's why my hands are like this much and this much. Okay, so you've got coast to coast. That's the one that's out about 2 to 3 weeks at a time and home for 4 to 5 days. That one runs a lot of the West, like Seattle and Portland and Hermiston, Pendleton. You'd actually run quite a bit of I-5. This is my I-5, by the way. A lot of I-5. And then on over 90 and to 94, so you'd run quite a bit of that. And then across, like I said, to 94, Montana, you'd be running into northern parts of Idaho, even into Salt Lake City area, Vegas. Those are areas that you'd run. Not the only areas, but definitely areas that you'd see in the over-the-road division that you wouldn't see in our more regional. And our regional is still over the road, so I do want to be clear on that. It's still 11 days out and 3 days home. You bring the truck home with you on your home time, and that one is basically going to keep you, east of Denver. I was going to say it's going to keep you right of Denver, but yes, it'll keep you east of Denver. Right on the map. I mean, that's fair, right? All right. So yes, we do have the over-the-road refrigerated options, both the home every 11 days as well as the OTR option. As far as flatbed, we don't currently have anything out of the Texas area for flatbed. Oh, and I do also want to mention, I don't know why I didn't mention this, but so the Dallas-Fort Worth area within a 50-mile radius, we do have that. And then Amarillo up towards Lubbock, we do have freight there as well through, north to Guyman and Denver. And then again, that's going to be part of our either option, the over-the-road 2 to 3 weeks out at a time, or the over-the-road regional that is 11 days out and 3 days home. So you've got either option there to choose from. And the only difference is what your preference is for home time and if you prefer to stay east of Denver. So that's a conversation you would definitely want to have with the recruiters to make sure that it's in alignment with what you are looking for. By the way, this telephone number that is flying across your screen every now and then, 877-433-2537, that will get you a hold of our recruiting department, and they'll answer more questions for you as well to see if we can't answer more questions. Yeah, give you more details. All right. Let's see. I'm getting a message here saying that it might be buffering a little bit, so I apologize if there's a delay on our screen. Like I said, with the weather, I do tend to see that, so we'll get that fixed for you. Dean says, in Minnesota, I had some snow last Thursday, but it all melted by the time we got home on Saturday. Oh, yes. Yes. We had a skiff. I don't even know. I want to say 2 weeks ago, but it was barely a skiff. I'm not even sure I can count it, because by the time it hit the ground, it was gone. It was gone. All right, so back to that team opportunity. The pay, I'm just going to break that down so you have an idea of what it would look like. For the team pay, it's 60 cents a mile, split to the truck, paid weekly. So what does that look like? You've got 30 cents per driver. 5 cents per driver is per diem, because if you compare the team rate to our solo rates, 10 cents per mile is per diem on all of our solo rates, or all of our mileage pay. So 10 cents per diem is what you're paid to the truck, and then the rest, the other 50% or 50 cents, is taxed. All right, so that's the difference between the two. So again, 60 cents a mile paid to the truck, 10 cents of that is per diem, so it's 30 and 5 each. And then that is just your base pay. And that's what you're going to see every Friday, direct deposit, because you get your paperwork in by Tuesday night and you get paid Friday for that. Okay, so that being said, the third pay period of the month following when you ran it, so everything that you ran in October, everything you completed in October, because if you did start a run on the 31st of October, but you didn't deliver till the 2nd of November, those miles actually go to November miles. But, same on the front side. If you picked up a load in September and didn't deliver it until the 1st or 2nd of October, those miles are going to fall into October miles. Anyways, the miles are calculated, and then it's determined what the additional pay is, so what the bonus is. So that's going to be paid as 2, 4, 6, 8 cents more on the mileage that you ran for that month. Hopefully that makes sense. And let me break it down even more. So you've got your weekly pay, 60 cents a mile, 30 a piece, paid every Friday, direct deposit. Now you're paid on all dispatch miles, so whether you or your team driver ran it, you're paid on all dispatch miles for the team. And that's how it's split, is the mileage. Or the cents per mile. And then the extra cents per mile, the 2, 4, 6, 8 increase, is going to be dependent on the number of miles that you completed for the month. So if you ran between 12 to 14,000 miles a month as a team, you get an extra 2 cents a mile, 14 to 16, an extra 4 cents a mile, 16 to 18, an extra 6 cents a mile, and anything over 18,000 miles a month is an extra 8 cents a mile. Now that being said, I mentioned earlier that our teams get really good miles. They're very consistent with the miles. They're looking on average about 24,000. So you should be getting that extra 8 cents per mile. Now, if you were running super solo miles versus true team miles, then you might not get that on average, but our teams tend to run team miles. And that's why we're in need of another team. So that being said, that extra cents per mile is paid the third pay period of the month following when you ran it. So that 8 cents a mile is 4 cents per driver, and that'll be paid in the bonus. The scorecard and the safety bonus, those are also paid at the same time period usually as the mileage pay, or as the mileage bonus pay. And that's an extra, possibly 5 cents a mile. And I say possibly because the safety bonus is separate from the scorecard bonus, and that's 1 cent per mile, depending on your safety score. And then the scorecard has 7 criteria, including fuel compliance and idle time, miles, CSA violations, preventable accidents, on-time delivery, and claims. I knew I had another one in there. So those 7 criteria, that's what's going to determine what your bonus is. And it's up to 4 cents total just for the scorecard. So you can get 1, 2, 3, or 4 if you qualify for it. So of course, if you don't qualify for it, then you won't see those bonuses. But as a team, your idle time should definitely be low, and of course your miles will be high. So your requirements, your mileage requirements, are not going to be the same as one of our solo drivers, of course, but it's going to be comparable. So, all right. Whew, there I go. That was my team opportunity. So again, from Denver, Colorado to Chicago, Illinois, if you live along I-80, we have that team option. And you just want to get a hold of us at 877-433-2537 for details on that one. All right, moving on. Now let's talk about our Midwest flatbed positions. We have a number of Midwest flatbed options. We have our over the road, which is, we can get you home every other weekend for the over the road in the Midwest, but we also have a home weekly option. Now the home weekly option is likely going to have a lot of shorter runs, but we do have a minimum safety net, minimum pay, but I call it safety net. We have a minimum pay of $14.50 a week in that position versus $1,000 a week in the over the road. Well, so the growth in the over the road, the opportunity for more pay is higher than, of course, that $14.50, but you're running a lot of shorter runs. So you're doing more tarping and securing, and so that's where it's padded there. Home weekly for the $14.50 is usually coming home on a Friday night or a Saturday morning and leaving back out either Sunday night or early Monday morning for a Monday morning delivery. So odds are you're coming home with a loaded trailer, okay? And again, you'll be bringing the truck home with you on your home time or making arrangements nearby the house so that you've got a place to park. So we kind of leave that part up to you. As far as our over-the-road flatbed division, that one is still within the Midwest. That one's usually home every other weekend, and we do figure a day and a half for every 7 days out. So not necessarily coming out Monday morning like you would with some of the others, but we do have that opportunity as well, because I do know you have that option. The requirements for the minimum pay are going to be the same. Make sure you've got a good understanding of your hours of service so that you can maximize being available. So being available for dispatch, no load refusals, no driver service failures, no late loads, no CSA violations or preventable accidents for the week, no claims, and get your paperwork in on time. I think I already said claims, but get your paperwork in on time. It's the 6 criteria, and that's going to be the same criteria whether you're refrigerated or flatbed or dry van, or it's the same. And that's on a week-by-week basis. So if you missed one of those criteria or didn't meet the criteria for week 1 or 2 or 8, that's not going to have a bearing on any other week, just that specific week. Okay, so it's a week-by-week basis. So that's my over-the-road and my Midwest flatbed. Now we have all in the Midwest, and then we have our over-the-road flatbed that runs an even broader area. That does still stay east of Denver. We don't do a whole lot, and when I say a whole lot, we really do not run west of Denver very often as at all. And usually those are the ones who, they pretty much run it already because they came aboard when we did run out west more. So the positions that we have are really going to be Denver East in our over-the-road flatbed division. That one we do require at least 6 months of flatbed experience or 1 year of tractor trailer experience before we can train in that flatbed. Okay. Now with our other divisions, we can train directly out of school. If you graduated from an approved school, we can train you in our other positions. But in the over-the-road flatbed, we do require the experience. It's just another level of safety that we want to make sure is met. And of course, we still do, in orientation, we still do the loading and securement. So that's not different, but we want to just make sure that you've got the experience and know-how with the flatbed because there's additional safety concerns there. Now, home time, again, usually Friday night, Saturday morning. With flatbed, we can usually get you home on the weekend, whereas with refrigerated and dry van, that's not always the case. And so that's why I kind of draw out for you, when to expect home time with that one compared to our refrigerated. Refrigerated, it could, you could be coming home on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or a, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's going to change week to week, most likely. And now if we can get you on a run that'll get you to a location that you get home on pretty consistently, if that's the load that you come home on pretty consistently, that's ideal, but it's not always the case. And so that's why we want to make sure that you have a little bit of flexibility with being able to get home. So that's our over-the-road flatbed division. And then when it comes to our flatbed division in the Bessemer, Alabama area, we do have just a couple of home weekly options from Bessemer, Birmingham area along 20 to Atlanta, Georgia. So along 20 between Bessemer, Alabama and Atlanta, Georgia, we do have home weekly in the flatbed. It's still going to require at least 6 months of over-the-road experience, over-the-road flatbed experience, and then again, if you don't have that, but you have a year of tractor trailer, we can train you in that one for loading and securement once you come up to orientation. So there's that. We also, so that's flatbed, over the road, regional. Yep. With that home weekly position, please keep in mind you're still running quite a bit of the Midwest. So even though we can get you home weekly in that area because we do have quite a bit of freight along there, the freight allows for it, you're still coming up to the Midwest, picking up a load and coming back. So it's not southeast. It's not a southeast run. It is still, it's still a large region east of Denver, but it's home more often. Okay. All right. What else am I missing? Dry van. Dry van is currently available. I know you guys have been waiting for that. Some of you, I should say, have been waiting for dry van to open up for a couple of years. We have expanded in our dry van division as well. So the positions that we have run, and Dean is a great example of this because yesterday he hopped on our Facebook Live and kind of gave me the details too of where we're running. So you are seeing a lot of Minnesota and Wisconsin. You'll see some Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, some Nebraska, and Missouri. So those are all areas that you see, a few more loaded in there, but Michigan, I believe, I can't remember if I just said that, but those are all areas that you'd see. And you are home every 2 weeks for that one. So about about 11 days, I should say. 11 days and then home for 3. And that is our dry van division. So again, no touch freight. And if you have questions on it, please reach out to our recruiting department because whether or not we have it in your area is going to depend on where you live, right? As I state the obvious. So get a hold of us, 877-433-2537 for more specifics on that one. All right. So same requirements for the minimum pay. The minimum pay is $1,000 a week, but your rate of pay per mile and the miles that you run should exceed that on a regular basis. They should exceed that. That's just a safety net. And if your rate of pay, if you're new to driving, if you've only had a year or so driving, then yeah, you're at 55-56 cents a mile in the flat or in the refrigerated or in the dry van. And then you get a penny raise after 90 days, you'll get a penny raise annually. But if you have several years of experience, say you've got 10-15 years experience, you're starting at 65 cents a mile, you get 10 cents of that is per diem. You get a penny raise at 90 days, you'll get a penny raise annually until you hit the cap. The cap, by the way, is 70 cents a mile. So as you're growing there, you're seeing the growth, but the minimum pay is currently the same, which means you're going to exceed the minimum pay a lot quicker with your rate of pay per mile as an experienced driver. And you'll get the better of the two. So you still need to meet the requirements on a week-to-week basis. That'll help, that's what provides your safety net. And when the weather goes hog wild, hey, wait, like it did this last weekend for some of you in the Oklahoma area, then you've got that safety net for you, right? Because those are things that are out of your control. You've met all of the qualifications. You've been available for dispatch. The things that are within your control. Being available for dispatch. No driver service failures. No late loads. No CSA violations or preventable accidents. No load refusals. Those are really important, and of course will qualify. Miles are not a factor with that minimum pay. However, the more miles you get, the faster you can go above the minimum pay. It's just a safety net. Okay. So that's a little bit of info on the current positions we have for the refrigerated, dry van, and flatbed divisions. Now, if you qualify for Decker, then you would get, you'd get invited to orientation and you'd start the process. But in order to qualify for Decker, you need to have a valid Class A CDL, be a recent graduate of an approved school, or have at least 6 months of experience and in tractor trailer, over the road tractor trailer experience. And then of course no CSA violations, no major CSA violations. If you have a CSA violation that we can work with, obviously we can move forward. But if you have a DOT recordable accident that's preventable, or if you have a major moving violation like a 15 over or erratic or reckless or careless, something like that, that would automatically disqualify you for a minimum of 3 years. And then work history is really important to us as well. We look at your work history. If you don't have a stable work history, that's usually a sign of, that you're probably not going to be a good fit for us, because we are looking for stability. We're looking for someone who's coachable and in often cases has a good feel for the industry and knows it well, understands it's a different lifestyle, and you have to manage your own time well. You have to manage your clock. I mean, you are on your own so much. You've got to have a good grasp of your hours of service and everything. Now, you've got a great support system here at Decker. We have our driver leaders, and we have our additional operations and maintenance, 24/7 maintenance crew. We have our HR department, our payroll, and we have our ambassadors. So there's so much here that will help to support you, but you're out on the road on your own. You need to be able to manage your time well so that we can better serve you as well. So the more experience you have, the more understanding you have of the industry, the better it will go for you. So, okay, those are basically the qualifications. I'm sure I'm probably missing some. 21 years of age, no failed or refused drug or alcohol tests in the last 3 to 5 years. Yeah. Okay, so once you've been approved, then we start the orientation process. And the actual orientation starts before you arrive in Fort Dodge, because we have an online orientation. And that will be sent to you. You'll get a link and sign on information for that. But it consists of modules, which could be a video, it could be an article, or even an image that's got clickable areas. But you'll go through each module, followed by a couple of questions, and then move on to the next. So there's several of those that you do ahead of time, taking away from the actual orientation. So that allows us to do a 2 to 3 day orientation instead of a 5+ day orientation, just so that you can, take care of and have the, let's see, words are not my friend right now, but you can have, you can just go at your own speed is what I'm trying to say. Like if you're going through the orientation modules, you're going at your speed, not the speed of everybody else. And that way you can absorb the information. And if you have questions, we're here. You can still reach out to us for questions. And then when you come into Fort Dodge for orientation, you'll be able to ask even more questions, get an even better understanding of it. But anyways, you'll have the online orientation before you get here. We'll do your physical before you get here. Unless your physical is good for another 6+ months, then we'll just have you send over the long form. We'll get that approved. We will also do both the hair follicle and the urinalysis before orientation. So those 4 things you complete before you even arrive in Fort Dodge, and that gets you a $100 bonus on top of the $500 that we pay you for the 3 days of orientation. So that's that process, right? And that's 3 days for an experienced driver. If you're an inexperienced driver, then it's at least a week. So, okay, so rolling back a little bit, backpedaling here just a minute to make sure I'm covering all the details. When it comes to coming to orientation, yeah, makes sense, then we get you either a rental car or a flight. It's going to depend on where you're coming from, and of course, if what's accessible to you. If you are coming from Chicago, well, a rental car is probably a better idea than a flight. If you're coming from Atlanta, Georgia, maybe a flight is a better idea. If you're coming from Seattle, Washington, we can fly you. But we take care of that ahead of time. We will, if we're getting a rental car for you, we'll also take care of the gas. For the flight, of course, we can take care of that for you. Now, that being said, when you come to orientation, and even when you see your online orientation, you'll see a repayment agreement. That repayment agreement is only for those who were to leave us within the first 6 months. So once you've hit your 6-month period, it's washed, it's null and void basically, when you come in, and because you'll sign the repayment agreement and it breaks down, this is what it costs for the rental car, this is what it costs for the hotel, and this is what you'd be responsible for if you left us within the first 6 months. Every month we knock $100 off of it, and we try to keep it low anyway because we want to make sure that if there was something that got in your way, it's not going to make or break it for you. Plus, we look at our expenses. We're a very stable company, been around since 1931, a little over that actually, but been around since 1931, and stability is something that we are known for, our financial stability, and of course, we've been known for quite a few things, equipment being a big part of it, but it's all part of the legacy that the business provides. So that said, repayment agreement, and every month we knock $100 off, and then at 6 months, even if there was $600 left, it's washed. So, all right, but we wanted to make sure you were aware of that ahead of time. What else am I missing? Should be about it. Covered you. All right, so that's the orientation process. You meet with the maintenance department, several of the different departments, kind of get to know them and the way that they run so that you can better communicate with them as well. Maintenance department goes through the trucks. They'll walk you through all of the amenities, which, by the way, there's a ton of them. I'll go through that here in just a second. But there's a lot of amenities. They'll show you how to use them, how to troubleshoot if there's any issues, and who to call. Ghostbusters. Who to call, and go from there. Okay. So that said, let's talk about amenities. The trucks are mostly the 579 Peterbilts. Yes, I know you probably see the 389s, but those are for veteran drivers who've 15 plus years of experience. They spec the trucks. Those are theirs, basically. So the 579s are the majority of our trucks. We also have some Freightliners in the flatbed division. We've got some 740s. We have 780s and 860s in the refrigerated division, and then a few Cascadia Evolutions for the Freightliners. Did I say? So the Volvos are the 780s, 780s, 860s, and 740s. I don't know if I said that wrong earlier. Anyways, so mostly Pete's, like over 95% of the Pete's of the trucks are paint, so keep in mind that's the majority. That's probably what you'll be seeing, but there are some others that you may see as well. All of our trucks are very well equipped, and they pretty much have all of the same amenities. The only difference is that the Freightliners have an Opti-Idle versus the Peterbilts and the Volvos, who they have APU units. They're going to be, I mean, the theory is about this, the idea is basically the same. You need to pre-cool the truck before you turn it off in the summer to keep the air conditioning running and, keeping you comfortable. And you need to preheat the truck if you're trying to warm up in the winter. So, when you're going down the road, heat the bunk, make sure it's at the temperature you want before you turn the truck off and then turn on the bunk heater, the APU and the bunk heater. If you're turning on the APU and the bunk heater without already having warmed it, it's working well. It's working way too hard. And that's not what they're designed for. They're designed to help more maintain it than, get you up the hill. That said, Dean says the APU is the greatest amenity. Awesome. That's what I love to hear. So yeah, we started getting those almost 10 years ago. Not quite 10 years ago, but pretty close. I think it was actually 18, so it was about in 2017, 2018 when we started getting those. Anyways, they are in all of our trucks besides the Opti-Idle, but the same theory on those. APUs, we have inverters. So if you've got a CPAP or you use a crock pot or something like that, we've got the inverter to plug into. We've got the bunk heaters. The trucks also have microwaves, and they also are equipped with refrigerators. We also have 22-inch televisions in the truck with the Epic View streaming and free Wi-Fi that goes along with that. They're all double bunk trucks, so you got double bunks. I know a lot of you use that extra bunk for storage. You've got it. If you have a rider, we do allow riders ages 10 and up. We also allow pets. We allow a dog or 2 dogs, but it's the dog that we allow. In the front of the truck, we have both seats are air ride, both the driver and the passenger side seats. We have the lytic system, which is part of our safety features. It does include both inward and outward facing event recorders. Now the inward one, that one turns off when you turn the truck off. That's off. When you turn the truck off, the outward one stays on for 4 hours. So it'll protect you for 4 hours on that. And then, of course, it'll kick on. The inward one will kick on during a critical event. It's not a live feed. So if you guys are wondering that, no, not a live feed on that. But it is part of the lytic system. If you've had, and I think most people anymore are familiar with either the lytic system or a similar one, when it doesn't have a live feed, you're totally comfortable there. You should be comfortable there. Dean says 2015 we started getting APUs. I got mine in 2016. All right, there we go. Yeah, I knew it had been a while. I couldn't remember. So, yeah, because I started in 2010, and we were talking about it, but nothing really until a little later. Okay, cool. 2017, I remember that's when we got some of those Freightliners. That was new to me. The automatics. That's when we got some of those automatics. That's right. There we go. Okay. Anyways, rolling back. Yeah, the trucks are very well equipped, and we do have CB units on all of them, and we are equipped with the Radio Ready, I think is what we call it actually, but it's Sirius Radio. If you want a subscription, that you would need to hold a subscription. That's a little bit different than the TV because Decker holds a subscription for the TV, so you don't have to worry about that. And they're smart TVs, so if you have like Netflix or Hulu Live or Peacock or there's a gazillion of them, right? YouTube Live, right? There's so many of them. Anyways, if you have any of those, you can set them up on your smart TV. That is included in the truck. So yes, very well maintained, newer model, lots of amenities, all that good stuff. So if you have questions, reach out to the recruiting department at 877-433-2537. And you can get the details that way. So let's talk about the benefits. We'll be coming on some updates with the benefits here in the next couple of months as well, and next month or so as well. But as of now, we've got great prescriptions, $0 generic prescriptions. $0 copay is what I mean by that. So the $0 copay is going to be valid at pretty much any pharmacy, with the exception of CVS or Walgreens. Those are the only two that it doesn't, they don't work with, but you can go in and get your prescriptions. And if you order online and you've got brand name or specialty, you can order those for $0 copays as well for brand name and specialty. And I think you can get up to 90 days for that one. So yeah, lots of our benefits have definitely increased in the last few years, which increased coverage wise, which I think is a huge plus, because so many places you're starting to see decrease in, and they'll take this away and that away, trying to save money. And that's the benefits. Actually, we've been able to improve on the benefits for the last several years. We actually improved our 401k. We have a 50% match here in the last several years, increasing that significantly. That's made a big difference, of course. So the 401k is through Principal Financial, and yes, that is a 50% match by Decker, and you can put up to 8% of your total earnings in that, in order for it to be matched. You can put more, but that's up to, Decker will match up to 8% of your total earnings. All right. Dean says, dry van currently is a line from Sioux Falls down to Ottawa, Kansas, to Columbus, Ohio, and up to Michigan, back over to Minnesota, and everything in between. See, there you go. That's good information on that dry van division. Thanks again, Dean. So yeah, it's definitely covering that upper Midwest for you. And we hire in a more distinct area, but it's still, your running lane is obviously a little bit broader than your hiring area, which is pretty normal, I think. But again, if you guys have any questions that I didn't cover here and you want them answered, either put them in the comments or in the chat, and I'll be able to respond after today's live. If you want to speak to one of our recruiters directly, I highly suggest you give them a call on our telephone number here, 877-433-2537. They are standing by. They're probably sitting and processing apps, but but they're there to answer questions. All right. So I guess what I got to remind you today is it is election day. So if you have not voted, if you didn't do your pre-voting or voting ahead of time, please make sure that you do get your votes in today.